Welcome to Natural Aesthetics. Currently I'm on a deload week, so I'm doing less reps, sets and weight than I was doing the 7 weeks prior to this. It's important for me when I feel a little bit lackluster in the gym to sometimes have a week where the intensity is lower. Next week I'll return to the gym with more vigour, more mentally prepared for the hard work that I need to do. So the 7 weeks prior to this I've managed to increase the weight on all of my exercises, albeit my arm training, and I've dropped my volume to accommodate that, to make it easier to use heavier loads. Now when the next 7 weeks commence, I'll try and do the same again, but with more volume, more reps and sets at those heavier loads. Now this video isn't about this guy, this is just an unfortunate case of hormone overconsumption, but rather this is going to be about scammers in the fitness industry, guys that either use Photoshop, steroids, oil, implants, to manipulate their image and basically become popular or make money from it. It is wrong, and it does go on far too much in my opinion. So this is a really interesting Instagram account, and he just highlights guys that are using Photoshop to enhance their image, and some are more blatant than others. I mean, these are just amateurs, so you can imagine how a professional could manipulate an image with a very good skill set on Photoshop. It'd be very hard to see the difference between that and the real image. But I mean, these are just lame. But unfortunately, people are fooled by it. A lot of people are so naive to it. I mean, this is just blatant. It's just terrible. And it's just wrong. And this is more of a subtle image, but if you look closely at the door frame, you can see that the lines aren't straight. The picture is morphed slightly to make the shoulder look more curvaceous. So this Instagram account's got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different examples of people using Photoshop. This guy here, he's manipulated his image quite heavily, giving himself a lot more mass on his shoulders and arms, and he's trying to sell products online, online personal training. That picture there is not the same physique as the picture here he's showing with his Photoshop image. You can see how dramatic that change can be when you manipulate your image. He's got well over 14,000 subscribers. Then you look at this guy who's using Photoshop, and it's really blatant, at least in my eyes anyway. But unfortunately, he's again fooling a lot of his followers into believing that he's this big. I mean, it's almost cartoonish. It's terrible how people can be so dumb. I just don't get it really. But he's got a lot of followers, and people kind of worship him online for being this huge mass monster. Some people are clued up, but it's more than likely because of this guy's Instagram page that I just showed you. And that's good. Awareness is good. This guy here, State of Mind, has become very popular on Instagram, has a lot of followers. He's now well over 100,000, I think. This transformation, it's just rubbish. 12-week progress. He was on Synthol before. Oil in his arms. You can see that clearly in his biceps. He's taken a lot of steroids after that, and he's trying to sell online coaching. I just think it's wrong. It's just scam artists. There's so much oil in his biceps. It's a joke. They always look the same shape. Yet again, he's fooling people online. His followers believe him. It sickens me how they post these motivational captions on each picture. Work hard, stay dedicated, all that rubbish. When in reality, he's taking steroids. It's not hard to get big when you're taking steroids. It's really not. And on top of that, he's using oil to fill his arms up to make them look bigger than they actually are. Kevin DeHolt Washington, another guy that has used Synthol in the past, or sight enhancements, whatever. He's always got that little plaster on the outside of his right arm. There were some pictures last year where he was really, really swollen. He looked terrible. He looked like he had a tumour coming out of his arm. He's using Synthol, shoulders, arms, and probably traps, I think. And again, he's got thousands of followers. This is an example of a pro bodybuilder. NASA used to compete in the 90s with Synthol or some form of sight enhancement oil. It's just pure cosmetic enhancement that he's put into his arm. It appears the same shape when it's flexed or when it's relaxed. This is Rich Piana, a guy that's become very, very popular online. This is when he competed. You'll notice that his arms aren't particularly strong in comparison to his torso, his body. They're not that big. You know, he's a big guy, but his arms aren't huge in comparison to his physique. And now look at him. After he stopped competing, he's somehow put on 5 or 6 inches on his arms. You know, it's just rubbish. He is full of synthol, or he's had implants or something. He denies it. He said he's tried synthol. It's just rubbish. People believe him. You know, his arms are bigger now than Lee Priest's arms. And Lee Priest, as one of the most genetically gifted bodybuilders that's ever lived, you know, has got some of the biggest arms ever. And Rich Piana now has arms that are bigger than Lee Priest's, when they were half the size, you know, a matter of 10 years ago. You know, it just doesn't happen like that. No way, you know. And Rich Piana's arms always look the same shape, much the same as a lot of these other guys. State of Mind, Kevin DeHolt, Washington, whether they're relaxed or they're flexed, they're always the same shape. You know, it's just blatant oil usage, and it's just, you know, it's just deceiving his viewers and followers. You know, I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that in any way, shape or form. I guess that's how these guys get, you know, amass this huge amount of followers and basically make a lot of money from it. But it's just not something that I think is good in the industry. So, you know, these guys are either using steroids to enhance their physique and lie about it, or oil, or, you know, site enhancements, or implants. And then on top of that, they're using Photoshop to dramatically enhance their physiques without ever having to train. You know, that's the joke of it. So what do you guys think about the state of the fitness industry at the moment? I think it's a bit of a joke, to be honest, and I think something has to change, really. People are just trying to make a quick buck any way they can. So post what you think in the comment section below, let me know. So give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more videos on natural bodybuilding. Stay strong.